previous quest, we got ourselves a second-hand Torqeedo motor with some issues, mainly dead tiller electronics and a battery in desperate need of some TLC. Motor status unknown.
BMS jest wyłączony, nie? Bo powiedzcie, że jeszcze jest po kolei. Jest po kolei 2,7 2,7
The project got shelved as we wanted to finally go sailing. We sailed to Gunayala and back to Linton again, where we realized our outboard didn't have cooling. As the disassembly process caused additional breakage, we decided to abandon it in favor of trying to resurrect the Torqeedo. The manufacturer is kind enough to provide some spare parts, but the ones we needed were on back order, and for the battery we would have to buy a new one as the BMS is not sold separately. Besides, where is the fun in that? So hacking would have to do. With a little bit of research, Bartek found some open source scripts that he modified to our needs. If you're interested, you can find links to both in description below. Using that amazing brain of his, he managed to put together replacement hardware from stuff we already had on board, and...
Tutaj enable dioda się włączy. Teraz się silniczek włączy.
The motor came to life. So far, so good. Now that we knew it was alive, to prevent it from rusting any further, we gave it a coat of epoxy and proceeded to the next step. Before we shelved the project a month earlier, the battery was put through a couple of charging cycles and brought back to a semi-decent state. It was time to put it back in the case and work on all the connections. Instead of the dead BMS, the battery got two new active balancers. We didn't have an 8S one, so we opted for a combo of a 7S and 3S, which are overlapping, which reminds me. To prevent any potential shorts and help organize the cables, we used a plastic cutting board from our Might Need Thems pile. Couple of holes. And some zip ties. By the way, I started collecting names for this piece of engineering marvel. So far I have in English zip ties, cable ties or snaps, or in Polish teretytki, trytki, trytytki, zaciągi, opaski zaciskowe. So if you know any other interesting ones, leave a comment down below. some rapid prototyping, couple more holes,
Co za shit.
a little bit of frustration,
Plastik się bierze i rozpada, nie? Zastanawiam się teraz, czy to jest dobrze zostawić to w środku. A jak ten plastik odpadnie, to ta śrubka wypadnie. Jak ta śrubka wypadnie i spadnie na dół, to wtedy mam problem, nie? Ja bym chciał go mieć, żeby tutaj. Teraz się zastanawiam, czy go chcę mieć tak, czy chcę mieć go tak. Tu od dołu nic nie ma. Może tak.
and everything was nicely organized.
Nie?
We still needed an ability to turn the battery on and off and see the voltage.
Haqeedo.
So we raided our private ferreteria. For some reason, anytime any of our fellow cruiser friends have any dead electronics, they bring them to us, and usually we cannot resist keeping them. Probably because in moments like these, they come in handy. And so we managed to get a MOSFET from a burned Volvo regulator and some resistors from a random PCB board, probably a chart plotter. Everything got soldered and
Marniczko, kluczyczko. No i dalej.
32. Ciąg. Dam da da da.
Niby no.
it was time for a second round of testing.
Tak.
Next up was putting the tiller together, which was a bit of a fiddly job.
Staram się. Koncentrujcie tutaj.
Then another round of testing, this time using the actual tiller instead of the computer.
Gaz na mniej. mieliśmy pierwszą jazdę tutaj na podłodze.
As everything seemed to be working quite nicely, it was time to close up the battery box. The rubber seal got a bit of Vaseline coating to keep it nice and moist. It took a while to conquer all the unruly cables, but at the end, conquered they were. After first test ride, which we didn't get on camera, 2 upgrades were introduced. The cable key was switched for a Hall sensor, so we could use the original magnetic key. This would reduce exposure to the salty environment and hopefully extend life expectancy of the system. Also, it was pointed to us that we are not being heard as we approach, so we added a warning sound that would play at certain lower RPMs so that people knew we were coming. And with that, we got one step closer to becoming a fully electric boat. 2 down, 1 to go.